everyone. Welcome to iCafe, your passport to culture. And today we're going to Spain. We have some people who have been to Spain, love Spain, want to move to Spain, know all sorts of stuff about Spain. So we're on the road to Spain today. Thank you for joining us. It's going to be a fabulous passport to culture today. Best part, no face mask, no visa, no problem. So I would like to introduce our sponsor for this week. It's the UC San Diego Retirement Association. Ann Skinner, please tell us about the UC San Diego Retirement Association.
Sure. Good afternoon. Bienvenidos a todos. Thank you for joining us for the iCafe. My name is Ann Skinner. I am a member of the executive board of the UCSD Retirement Association, who is your sponsor for today's iCafe. It was interesting when I saw iCafe come up for today in particular. Last Sunday, my husband and I were supposed to board a flight to Madrid. And right now, I was just looking at our itinerary, had it happened, we would be in Cordoba, moving to Seville this evening. But instead, I'm here at the iCafe, so yay! No problem. For those of you who are not familiar with the UCSD Retirement Association, here's a little quick plug. The Retirement Association is the largest retirement association in the UC system. San Diego is the largest because we have 2,500 members. Now, not everyone is a retiree because you don't have to be a retiree to join the association, but the majority, of course, are. So think about it, that's several thousand years of experience, UC experience that we have under our belts. And so it is a wonderful organization. The mission of the RA, as we like to call it, is to encourage and maintain the continued support of and the interaction with the UCSD community. And so that's one of the things that we do, but we do a lot more. Throughout the year, the UCSD Retirement Association hosts several year-long series of events around a central theme. These series can be educational and intellectual, such as our Discover UCSD series, or more adventurous, like our Inside Museum tours. And of course, we have various special interest groups. We have photography and genealogy, and we have a book club, and they can keep you busy pretty much at the time. The events take place starting throughout the year from the fall to the spring, so technically the academic year. And of course, this year, because of the situation, all of our presentations have been virtual, but we'll be back. So one of the things we are the most proud of at the Retirement Association is our support of the Chancellor Scholars. Through the generous donations, the UCSD Retirement Association Chancellor Scholarship Fund, financially needy students with strong academic credentials the opportunity to fully realize their potential. By contributing to the UCSD Retirement Association Chancellor Scholarship Fund, undergraduates on their educational journey can be assisted financially through our various scholarships. We do a lot with Chancellor Scholars. Chancellor Scholars, when the center is open, we couldn't do much without them. They are just wonderful, and they are with us for all of our activities, and we are very supportive of them. We also support the Emerita Mentorship Program, where members of the UCSD Retirement Association actually provide mentorship to UCSD students. And that's a very rewarding program as well. We also have annual scholarships that we provide to health sciences clinical staff to assist in advancing their clinical knowledge. And of course, we contribute to the International Cafe, which is something I'm sure you are all very, very familiar with. So we also, support other activities like today's virtual trip to Spain and a variety of things. I will put the website information on so that everyone can see what that is. But that is pretty much the Retirement Association. That's who your sponsor is for today. So we're all looking forward to going to Spain, being there to spend Halloween and Dia de los Muertos, maybe, huh? Okay, that's it for me.
Thank you so much, Anne. That was great. I'm going to turn it over to Megumi Ratliff. She is one of my colleagues over at Extension, and she lived in Madrid. So she is going to start.
Thank you, Shaylee. There we are. Hi, everyone. Hola a todos. ¿Qué tal estáis? As Shaylee mentioned, I lived in Madrid for about 7 years, and I just moved back actually to the US at the end of last year. So I do miss Madrid a lot. As you can see, it's a beautiful place. Madrid is the capital of Spain, has a metro area population of 6.5 million. So a lot of people there. And as you can see in the map, it has a very central location. It's right in the center geographically in the Iberian Peninsula, and that's actually one of the reasons why it was chosen as the capital city. And I personally love Madrid. I think it's often overshadowed by another city you might have heard of in Spain, Barcelona, and they do have a friendly rivalry, friendly relationship. But I definitely recommend visiting Madrid if you ever have the chance. I think Madrid has something to offer everyone. It has history, culture, museums, gastronomy, nightlife, and stunning architecture. As you can see here, this is one of the most famous buildings in Madrid. It's the Edificio Metropolis, and it's right at the beginning of Gran Via, or the Broadway of Madrid. Next slide. And so these are just some of the sites you can see in Madrid. There are a lot more. These are some of my favorites. So the Prado Museum is the main national art museum in Spain, which holds an immense collection of not only Spanish art with painters such as Goya and Velázquez, but also a very impressive collection of European art. So that's definitely one of the main stops when people come to Madrid, along with, the Reina Sofia Museum for Contemporary Art, and then the Thyssen is also very popular. If you want a little bit of green, the Parque del Retiro is one of the main parks in the center of Madrid. It's 350 acres, beautiful. You'll see people jogging, biking. There's also boats you can rent, and you can row in the lake there. And you'll see just people of all ages just spending time enjoying the park. You'll also just see the Templo de Deva, which is actually a real Egyptian temple that was donated to Spain from the Egyptian state in the 1960s. And that's a very popular place to go to see the sunset. And it's very, very beautiful. And another place that's very well known in Madrid is the Puerta del Sol. And this is one of the main squares in Madrid. It's a meeting point. So usually if you're going to meet someone, you'll meet in Sol. And as you can see here, one of the main sites is can everyone hear okay?
Megumi, you're breaking up a little. I think, so it sounds a little bit distorted.
Oh, okay. Maybe, one moment. I think I'm gonna turn off my video. That might help with the audio a little bit. Does it sound okay now?
Yes, it's better. Thank you.
Oh, it's better? Okay, sorry about that, everyone. Thanks for letting me know. So yeah, in Seoul, you'll find the Oso y el Madroño, which is the bear and the strawberry tree. So this is a very kind of central location. And if you rub the bear's tail, they say it'll give you good luck. So you can try that. Next slide.
Hold on, sorry. It's frozen. There we go.
Okay, and another great part of an important part of enjoying Madrid is obviously the food. Madrid is such a food city, and so one of the things you should try tapas, of course, everyone knows, which are small plates that you can share, and you can get all different types of tapas. Tortilla de patatas is the potato omelet. And this is very typical for breakfast or just for a snack. And it's very good. So I definitely recommend that. I think probably the most famous Spanish dish is paella. And there are a few places in Madrid where you can have good paella. But if you want, you know, the real authentic paella is actually from Valencia. So you should go to that region for, you know, the real paella. In Madrid, probably the most typical dish is cocido madrileño, which you'll see at the top, which is garbanzos, meats, and some vegetables. And you usually have it with some chicken noodle soup. I know it doesn't look like much, but it's very, very good. So especially on a cold day, you'll see a lot of people eating cocido. And you can't forget about churros with chocolate. So that is also a typical breakfast, but you can pretty much have it any time of the day. Next slide. And another very important part of Spanish culture, not just in Madrid, but in the entire country, is obviously soccer. Madrid is lucky to have two excellent teams, Real Madrid and then Atletico de Madrid. And I'm sure, I think Real Madrid is probably more well-known. Going to a game and, you know, being in the stadium with all the people is definitely an unforgettable experience. Even if you don't like soccer that much, it's a lot of fun. And how most people usually watch a game is just going to a local bar or restaurant and watching with friends. And that in itself is also quite an experience. So even a big game, you know, like the Clásico or a derby is exciting, but even a small game is a lot of fun. I personally, as you can see, am an Atletico fan. And so I had a lot of very good memories watching games and still do. Next slide. So another city that is very dear to my heart is Salamanca. And Salamanca is just west of Madrid and very close to Portugal, as you can see on the map. Salamanca is a lot smaller. It's a population under 150,000 people, so not a very big town, but it is a very important university city in Spain. And it also, the old city, the old part of Salamanca is a UNESCO World Heritage Site. So that is under protection and is preserved and is amazing to see. Next slide. And so some of the things you should definitely check out in Salamanca. So like I said, it's an important college town, and that's mainly due to the University of Salamanca, which was founded in 1218. So it just recently celebrated 800 years. And it is one of the oldest universities in Madrid. And that's actually where I was able to do my master's just a couple years ago. So I lived in Salamanca for 1 year, and it was a great experience. It's also famous for the cathedral, which is actually two cathedrals, the old and the new cathedral, that have been joined together. And the Plaza Mayor, the main square, pretty much every city in Spain has a Plaza Mayor, but the one in Salamanca is really something to be seen. It's spectacular. Next slide. And yeah, I mean, I've been really lucky. I think like I said, I was in Madrid for 7 years, but my first time coming to Spain was when I studied abroad during college. I studied in Barcelona, and I think Spain, any city in Spain, is a great place to study abroad, because not only can you learn Spanish, which is such a useful and beautiful language, but you get to experience such a vibrant culture. And I think a big takeaway about Spanish culture is that you live your life in the streets, and you're always out and about, and people of all ages, which I think is great. And in my time living in Spain, I think an important thing I learned is just to really slow down, take the time, not always be in a rush, and enjoy life.
Thanks, Megumi. Well, speaking of enjoying life, where else in Spain do you enjoy life? Ibiza. So I was very, very lucky to go to Ibiza last September. I went for the closing parties weekend, and it is everything it is hyped up to be. So Ibiza, there's 6 million tourists that go every year. So a lot of Europeans go here. They have sunshine 10 hours a day, 300 days a year. So that's why so many people flock to this amazing island. They have 57 different beaches, which you would never think. And the ground is orange, and that's due to the tannins of the pine needles. So I was like, why is the ground so orange everywhere you walk around? So you see crystal clear, beautiful waters. It's incredible. And of course, it is the party capital of Europe. I have gone to Vegas so many times. Vegas has nothing on Ibiza. There's more than 40 day and nightclubs. Their world famous DJs came. I saw David Guetta and Martin Solveig. There was a lot of DJs that weekend I was there. The clubs don't open till midnight. So, the Spanish people, they eat very late. The clubs don't even open until midnight, and they go until sunrise, 7 a.m. Privilege is the largest club in the world. It holds 11,000 people. And ironically, it started out as a community pool. And Pasha is the oldest club, and it was one of my favorites to go to. So Ibiza, every day, you basically are out of the day clubs all day, and then you go out at night as well. So sadly, obviously this year, none of this was going on, but I really hope Ibiza gets back into it. It is such an incredible place to be. Party boats, you name it, so many people, and all over the world they come to Ibiza. So I had a great time a year ago going there, and I also had the privilege to go to Barcelona, Sevilla, and Madrid about 5 years ago. So I just wanted to give a little plug to Ibiza. You have to go at some point in your life. So we hope you enjoyed our presentation, and I want to thank Megumi so much for coming on and sharing her experiences. So thank you, Megumi. All right, we're going to go right into travel trivia. So what are the rules? We're going to go to kahoot.it. So Julie will put the information in the chat box. Please do not put your answers to the trivia in the chat box. You have to play through the Kahoot platform. So I will go through that here very quickly. And then if you have won already, our last 3 winners, you cannot win again. So I know who you are, but still please play. And you will get a Starbucks gift card in the mail if you win. So are we ready to play some trivia? Let's test our knowledge on Spain. All right, please give me a few seconds. This will load up. And then you go on your computer or your phone. You're going to go to Kahoot. It's KAHOOT.IT. And you are going to enter a PIN, which will load here shortly. So please go to Kahoot.it. You're going to enter this game pin when it comes up, 2795617. Enter your name right after. I see a lot of you know, a lot of you are repeat, so you know how this works. And for those of you who are new, I'll quickly go through. You will see colors and the answers to the question on my screen. You will pick the color of the correct answer. So I know a lot of names are coming in. Give it a few more seconds. All right. we're gonna go ahead and start. Oh, I see a few more. All right, I'll give it a few more seconds. Since every time there's a pause, we have more. I know it takes a minute to log in, put the game pin in. Anne, I see you in there. I know you're trying. I got you, Anne. I'll wait. All right, you're in, Anne? Okay. Here we go, everyone. I'm gonna go ahead and start. All right. Question number 1. We always start with our easiest questions. Megumi mentioned it. What is the capital of Spain? Is it Barcelona, Madrid, Valencia, or Ibiza? What is the capital? A few more seconds. All right, and our answer is, of course, Madrid. That is the capital of Spain. All right, great job. What are the colors of the Spain flag? So what are the colors? Is it red and yellow? Is it red and green? Is it yellow and white or yellow and green? The main colors of the Spain flag. Just a few more seconds. And Megumi, you might know the answer to one of these, and I might call on you to say the names. All right, it is red and yellow. Great job, everyone. Those are the colors of the Spain flag. All right, An, you are in the lead. All right, how many official co-languages does Spain have? Co-languages. So Spanish is the main language. Megumi, do you know the other whenever we get to the... So how many official are there, guys? There are. It's a tough one. There's officially 4 other languages. Megumi, do you know them? Oh, you're on mute.
Is it working?
There you go.
I guess it'd be Catalan, Euskera, Gallego.
Yes. And then Basque.
Oh, Basque. That's
Basque. So it has 4 official languages. Obviously, Spanish is the number 1. Great job. All right, Allie, you are in the lead. Here we go. Next question. Which mountain range divides Spain and France? Which mountain range divides 2 countries? Is it the Apennines, the Pyrenees, Mount Tiède, or the Alps? When I was putting this together, I learned this in geography. I don't know how this stuck with me. All right, so which mountain range divides Spain and France? One more second. You got it right. Great job, guys. It is the Pyrenees. Lisa, this is tough competition, guys. All right, next one. True or false? Spain, the most olive oil in the world. True or false? Spain produced the most olive oil in the world. A few more seconds. And the answer is true. 29 of you got it, right? You would always think Italy, right? Italy or Greece, but Spain is actually the number 1 producer of olive oil. All right, Lisa, you're in the lead. So what is considered to be the national dish of Spain? Megumi did mention it in her presentation. The national dish of Spain, is it patatas bravas, which is my favorite. I think I ate that every meal when I was there. Churros, which is delicious with chocolate. Paella or gazpacho. And the churros are in Spain are like no other. Don't even compare here in the States or in Mexico. All right, you guys got it. It is paella. Fun fact, paella, I worked for the Rice Federation, is made with short grain or bomba rice. That is the best rice to use in paella. All right, everyone, what time do Spaniards typically eat dinner? Between 7 and 8, between 6 and 7, between 9 and 10, or between 10 and 11? What time do they typically eat dinner? All the Europeans always eat later, right? All right, and our answer is between 9 and 10. Wow, a lot of you got that right. So they have a 2-hour siesta, and back in the day, World War II, they were supposed to be on a certain time, but they ended up being on the Greenwich Mean Time. So they start their day early, but they have a midday break and a 2-hour siesta. Lucky. So they typically do not eat dinner until the end of the day. All right, how many World Heritage Sites are there in Spain? There's a lot more than you think. There is your hint. How many? There's 20, 47, 35, or 31. A few more seconds. 47. Awesome job, everyone. There are 47 of those sites. All right, Scott, you're in a lead. This is tough competition. All right, La Sagrada Familia. Can't even say it. It's a man-made masterpiece. Was it inspired by nature? True or false? Was it inspired by nature? Just so you know, they're still working on it. It's taken over a century and it should be done within the next 2026. 6 years. True, it is. It was inspired by nature. So I've been there. When you really look at it, there's trees. It's really a very, very, very beautiful thing you have to see if you go to Barcelona. All right, our last question. It's a tradition to eat 12 of at the same time to bring Spaniards good luck in the new year. Tradition to eat 12 what? Is it chocolates, jelly beans, grapes, or churros? I could probably house 12 churros at the same time. What is it? What brings them good luck if they eat 12 of these? Grapes. Wow, you guys did it. Who would have thought? 12 grapes. If you eat 12 grapes, the start of the new year, it's supposed to bring you good luck the whole year. How many people do you think ate grapes at the start of 2020? All right, our finalists, Gabby in 3rd place, C in 2nd place, and our 1st place winner goes to Scott. Great job, Scott. Please send me a private chat and you will be getting a physical Starbucks gift card in the mail. So great job, everyone. Thank you guys so much for playing. Awesome, awesome work. It's so fun every week to do this because I learn a lot and I hope you learn a lot. All right, I'm going to turn it over to our next cultural ambassador. Our second one, Suzanne, is up.
Thank you. Hola, bienvenidos a todos. And hang on just one sec while I load up my PowerPoint. Come on, open up. Get it started. And I actually knew the 12 grapes because I passed my last New Year's in Spain. And we enjoyed 12 grapes for Spain and it was wonderful. So I have lived abroad a good part of my life. I've lived in France for a year and in Côte d'Ivoire, West Africa for 20. And then I came back to the United States and I've been here for a few years raising my children. They're all grown up and I'm getting wanderlust again. And so over the last few years, I have spent a month over my Christmas break exploring different places to retire to. And this last year, I spent a month traveling all around Spain and oh my God, it knocked my socks off. I was in love with it. And especially the city of Valencia, which I am going to share with you today. So Valencia is here in the yellow on my card, on my cap. Sorry, I speak French at home and sometimes I switch back and forth into French. Although right now I'm working really hard at getting my Spanish up to my French level. Population about 791,000. So if you will, it feels kind of like the size of San Diego, you know, a doable city. It's not an overwhelming city. I loved Barcelona too, but in my opinion, Barcelona was a little big. I liked Valencia for its size. It has an amazing old quarter, Gothic quarter, which is incredible. This cathedral was built in 1238, consecrated then. Just amazing, the things in the old quarter. And of course, on every street corner, there is a sidewalk cafe that blossoms where you can stop and enjoy coffee and churros and chat with the locals, who are all so friendly. Absolutely love that. This is the beautiful square of St. Mary's in Valencia. And during the day, this is a whole lot more lively. This is a quiet evening shot. Of course, just like San Diego, it's got amazing beaches. So there are some 13 beaches in Valencia. One of my favorites was Playa Las Arenas, which is just gorgeous. It has a promenade along there that you can ride. There were a lot of people rollerblading, bicycling. They keep it really clean. There are public restrooms. And then, of course, to my pleasure, there's lots of lovely restaurants on the promenade. So we spent a couple of afternoons relaxing in some of these beautiful restaurants. My favorite being the Marina Beach Club right there on the beach. Just spectacular. But really what drew me, kind of like when I came back to San Diego after having lived abroad for 20 years, if you come to San Diego and you want to go where all the smart people are, where do you go? You go to UCSD. Well, in Valencia, there's this City of Arts and Sciences, which is just this amazing collection of brilliance, starting with the brilliance of the architecture. It was designed by Santiago Calatrava and Felix Candela. And it's this collection of numerous buildings that each one is, it just takes your breath away. So we will look at a few of them. Hang on, I want to drag that over to there. This is the Palau de les Arts Reina Sofia, and it's the Opera House or Performing Arts Center. So striking. When I looked at it from this viewpoint, I was like, whoa, this is like a Star Wars element, but just absolutely breathtaking. The next is the L'Oceanográfica, and the architect there for this one is Felix Candela. I've got the structural engineers up there for you. It is the largest marine park in Europe. So beautiful. Opened in 2003. And L'Hémisphérique, large format cinema. There's an IMAX dome with a 16 by 8 meter cinema. Just a screen, absolutely amazing. And they use that for digital projections, astronomical representations, and shows. I can't wait. I haven't been to a show there, but I can't wait to go to that. Then there's the Musée de Ciencias Príncipe Felipe. And this has recent exhibitions that have included spy science, climate change, the human body, biometrics, absolutely spectacular. And for just a peaceful Zen area, there's L'Ombracle, which is right on the exterior of the City of Arts and Sciences. And it's a sculpture garden, landscaped walkway, which features all the plant species which are indigenous to Valencia. Lovely, lovely space to go for an afternoon walk. Then there's the Lasso de l'Or Bridge. This bridge crosses the Turia Gardens. And again, each piece of architecture is just magical. You want to spend a day just looking at it from all the different angles. Now there's the Turia Gardens that I mentioned. It's one of the largest urban parks in all of Spain. And it runs through the city along 9 kilometers of green space. There's footpaths, there's areas to relax and have a picnic, there's sporting areas, and the city planners were so smart. They transformed what had been a riverbed after a gigantic flood. They said, okay, this isn't working having this riverbed running right through the city. They diverted the river and brought it under control and converted that riverbed into this incredible garden area. And of course, it's already been mentioned, but one of the spectacular attractions in Spain, and certainly in Valencia, is the food with paella that is just spectacular. You know, you've got the high-end fancy restaurants that serve paella, but you can find it in all the little cafes, and it is just wonderful. And then if you move there, which I'm planning to do, there is tons of fresh vegetables and fruit, which is grown locally. So that'll be very, very nice. And of course, everybody's mentioned it, but it was a mainstay, and that's the incredible churros with the chocolate. Oh my goodness. You haven't had a real churro until you've had that. You'll love it. And of course, you can enjoy any of these things at the many delightful sidewalk cafes that are in every neighborhood. As you do your promenade through the city, you are likely to stumble upon one of these lovely cafes, pull up a chair, have a glass of wine, and enjoy. So I started hunting for my new home. I think I'm going to be looking for an apartment in the sleek apartments near the City of Arts and Sciences. These buildings that I'm showing all have views that overlook that amazing set of architectural buildings. And I think that'll be an incredible thing to look out on when I'm sitting out on my terrace with my afternoon glass of wine. And I'm already starting to connect with people. I've become a member of the International Women's Club of Valencia. There are so many people from so many different countries who have moved to Spain to take up residency. And I've become a member of the International Women's Club. They offer volunteer opportunity, resources, and networking, lots of ways to get involved. And I think one of the things that I'm doing here at the University of California, San Diego, working with mentoring college students, I think that's something I may want to see if I can get started there. So love, love, love Valencia and all of Spain. I encourage all of you to come. Those of you that are my friends, you will have an open invitation to visit once I relocate there. And one of those friends is our next presenter, Donna Mulcahy, who's going to give a brief food demo. Take it away, Donna. Stop. Okay.
Hello?
Yeah, we've got you.
Okay, let me get my presentation up and we will get going. Oops. Okay. From beginning. Can everyone see that?
Presentation, no.
Okay. Share screen. All right, is that better?
There you go.
Okay, great. Great. Hi, I'm Donna Mulcahy, and yes, as Suzanne said, I'm with the UCSD Retirement Association also. And one of the things that Ann didn't mention earlier is that all of our Retirement Association members, we do actually love to eat. There are restaurant groups that go out and explore here in San Diego. And before, when we were able to have people in a building and get together, we actually had cooking demonstrations. And I have actually done this, the tortilla de patata de España, for a cooking demonstration at the Retirement Association. It was so much fun. So I am going to show you today how to make the tortilla de patata. And I am an official member now. I've got my official apron of the International iCafe Cook Club. So I'm very proud. And so let's get going with the cooking. Okay, you heard a little bit about Spanish tapas, and I just really want to explain. We kind of think of them as an appetizer, but in Spain, they're really more like a way of life. You can go into a bar, and maybe pre-COVID, you could go into a bar, and on the bar, you would see all these different really interesting things to eat, and you would just, if your Spanish wasn't very good, like mine was the first time I was there, you would say, you know, you would just point and they would give you a little section of it on a plate. And you could make a whole meal out of tapas if you want to. Of course, you'd have to save room for paella, but that's another story. So tapas are wonderful, and the tortilla de patatas is actually the most popular of all the tapas. And you'll see it in homes and in the bars and in the restaurants and everywhere that you go, you'll see tortilla de patata. Tortilla de patata is actually really easy to make. I'm going to show you how. First of all, you have to decide how much you're going to make. So normally I would make it with that pan that's on the right, and that makes a lot. That makes a nice appetizer size for 8 or a small appetizer size for 12. I usually cut them into wedges, but you can also cut them into squares and use a toothpick to just pull it out, and you serve it on a plate. And you could serve quite a few out of that larger pan. Now, to show you how to make this, I made the smaller size because this is something that is enough for maybe 2 or 3 people. Or if you're just making it for yourself, you're going to be really lucky because you will have leftovers, and they are good for breakfast. They are good for lunch the next day. And leftover tortilla de patata is always really good to have around. Okay, so here you go. First of all, you want to collect your ingredients. And this is a phrase that's used in French cooking, mise en place, and it means everything in its place. But what it really means is no extra trips to the store. So you want to have everything all ready to go. How many times have you decided to make cookies and I ate all the chocolate chips? Now I've got to go to the store. So you want to have everything all ready to go. I'm going to just tell you a little bit about the things that you need, and you'll see that this is it. This is all you need. You just need a couple of potatoes, a little bit of onion, and you can omit the onion if you don't like onion or if you can't eat onion, as some people can't. Garlic the same way. Now, how many of you love garlic? Put up your hands. I love garlic. I could not have a meal without garlic, but if you don't like garlic, it's really optional. Now, olive oil. You can make this with regular oil, with canola or something else, but you're going to have to add a little bit more salt, a little bit more flavoring. Olive oil really makes the flavor of it all. So you want that olive oil. Now, to make a small amount, I said you need 2 eggs. You need 4 eggs if you're going to make the big one. The small one, you need about 1.5 eggs, but it's kind of hard to just have half an egg. So you're going to take 2 eggs and get those ready to go. And then just a tiny bit of salt for flavoring. And then all you need are the items that are listed right here. Your frying pan, 2 bowls, a strainer is really helpful, although you don't have to have one, but it's really best. And then a fork or a whisk and a spoon, a spatula to kind of move things around, and a plate. That's it. Probably things that everybody already has. Oh, and some paper towels just in case you spill. Oh, I've done that. Oh yeah, I use a lot of paper towels. Okay, so slicing. The first thing you have to do is slice your potatoes, and you want them nice and thin. This picture shows some pretty, little ridged potatoes. You don't want to do that. You want them nice and thin. You want them about 1/8 of an inch thick. If you don't have a mandolin, that's okay. You really don't need it. But if you're making it for 30 people like I did at the Retirement Association, you definitely want some quick way to slice up all those potatoes. One thing about the mandolin, it is really wonderful. I really like using it, but you always, always, always want to use that food holder. Okay, see that big red arrow? Always. Because you don't want to have that very, very, very sharp blade hitting your fingers. And you know what? You won't have tortilla de patata that night because you'll be in the hospital getting stitches. So that's what you want. So what you're going to do is you're going to slice up those potatoes and immediately put them in a bowl with some cold water. And that's just to keep them from turning brown and getting kind of mushy. And you're going to drain the water off in just a minute, but get those all in the bowl with the nice cold water and ready to go. Next, what you're going to do is you're going to heat up your oil. And some of these things take a while. That's why this is not live, because it really takes about half an hour or 40 minutes to make the whole thing. But a lot of it is inactive time. You're just waiting for it to cook and that kind of thing. So you pour your oil in the pan, and the recipe is on the iCafe's food Facebook page. So just so that you know. And you pour the oil in the pan and you heat it over medium, and you want it really good and hot, but you don't want it smoking. You don't want it burning. And then while the oil is getting hot, you drain those potatoes, and you really want to take those paper towels and pat them dry, because when you pour anything wet into your oil, it's going to spatter all over, and you really don't want that. So the oil should be hot, but not smoking. And then you pour it all in, and here you go. So this is what it looks like when you get started. All the oil is in there. The potatoes have just started cooking. You're going to spoon it around a little bit so that all of your potatoes are covered with oil. It looks kind of disgusting at this point. It's really a lot of oil, and then there's your potatoes, but most of the oil is going to be drained off in just a minute. So you stir it up every once in a while, make sure that they're all covered, and you don't cover it up or anything. You just want that oil to be simmering. And if it looks like they're cooking too fast, you don't want them to really brown. You don't want them to stick to the bottom, of course. So you turn your burner down a little bit if it looks like they're cooking too fast. So the next thing you're going to add is your onions. Now, again, you should have had all of these already chopped up and ready to go. You don't want to add the onions too early or they'll burn. You don't want burnt browned onions. And also, if you are using garlic, this is the time to add it. So you just stir those in, and again, get them all incorporated in with your potatoes. And you're going to keep cooking them through until they're pretty much cooked, and you can stick your fork in and your fork goes through, but you don't want them mushy. You don't want mashed potatoes out of it. All right, I've called this part the draining experience. You're going to take your cute little colander and put it over a bowl, and you're going to pour the whole thing very carefully into your little colander, and all of that oil is going to just go right through the colander and into your little bowl. And you're not going to use the oil again. It's going to be left over for another occasion. It is still pretty good and clean. It's got some nice flavor in it now with those onions. And you're just going to let it sit in the strainer while you, in the meantime, break your eggs. Now, there are no eggs in the Sagrada Familia, and I did show you a little while ago a little dragon who said, "I'm hungry." You can tell what my favorite city was in España was Barcelona. So I really love Barcelona. So you break your eggs into a bowl and you whisk them together. It's really simple. Then you take that bowl, and you took the bowl, you wanted to use the bowl that you had the potatoes in, you wipe the bowl out, you put your eggs in, you whisk them all up, and then you take your potatoes and your onion and your garlic, and you put them back into the bowl with the eggs, and you just kind of stir them up gently. So you get the egg to cover the whole thing. And then it goes back in the pan for the final cooking. And first you want to take that pan and clean off any bits that are in there, and you put in a little bit of fresh oil, and you get that really good and hot. Because the secret with eggs is if your pan is really good and hot and you pour those eggs in, they won't stick. They will cook so fast that they won't stick. And then you can just shake your pan, and your whole tortilla de patata will just shake up in the pan. So you take your spoon and you put all your potatoes in, and then if you have a little bit of egg left over, you can pour it right over the top. So that's fine too. So you just stir a little bit and then keep shaking and keep shaking to make sure that it doesn't stick. You don't want it to stick. So if it does feel like it's cooking too fast, turn down the heat. When I made this the other night, I did turn it down to pretty low because I do want it to cook through on the one side, but it's not going to cook on the other side because you're going to see the fun part. Now, this is a dish that is perfect to make if you have friends come over, because this is the fun part. As soon as you have this part done, you tell everyone to come into the kitchen. I mean this, and you take your pan and you're gonna do the drama. This is the fun part. Here we go, the big show. I'm going to show, this is what you do. You're going to flip the whole thing over. There it is, my master chef, my husband, and you put it right back in the pan, and you let the other side cook. And it's so impressive. Your friends will be so impressed. And you just let that part cook and let that heat through, and it gets about the same color as the other side. And then you take it out and you just slide it back onto a plate. And that's it. Let's eat. After you flip it over, you just shake the pan again, make sure it's not sticking. And when it's finished, you just pour it into the pan and you cut it in wedges. We had it for dinner and it was fantastic. So I think this is something that all of you can make. And when you go to Spain, you will have it in every place that you go. And I hope you really enjoy it. Thanks for watching.
Thank you, Donna. I'd be surprised if anyone is not hungry right now and wanting to eat that. So I am going to invite our last cultural ambassador, Cassie, to come on right now. Cassie, I can't wait to see your presentation. Can you share your screen?
Yeah. All right. Hi there. I'll try and rush through this, guys. Nice to see you all. All right. Here we are. And 1 second. All right, so I'm very quickly going to go through Spain and art. Are there any art lovers among us? I know I'm such a big art junkie, so and Spain, as we know, has tons of art to share with us. So let's go next here. So let's start off with Barcelona. So Barcelona, as we mentioned, is the capital of Catalonia, an incredibly vibrant city. And of course, you cannot go to Barcelona without seeing some amazing mosaic architecture. So this here, as we all know, it's Park Güell. And this is made by Antonio Gaudi. And originally it was actually supposed to be a housing estate of all things. And the plans they went through and they weren't able to complete it. But Gaudi was just so determined to see it the project towards its end that he actually lived on the grounds until he got the rights for it to become a public park. And then they went ahead and turned it into a huge park. And this is where he kind of like pushed this new technique called tricasti. And it's, if you see the mosaics that he used, the way he did the ceramics that are cemented into all of the walls. So that was his technique that he really pushed forward. Now, normally, you're not going to see so few people. This is a rare occasion. This picture must have been taken sometime during the pandemic, I imagine. Yeah, so that's more examples of the beautiful tile work there. Again, must be a pandemic shot. And Gaudi actually lived on the grounds. So he lived in this house up until his time of death. He lived there with his family. And he would often get mistaken for a homeless person because his clothes were just so simple that a lot of people thought he was just some average Joe wandering around Park Güell. And lo and behold, he's the imagination behind the whole grounds. Yeah, and of course, we've mentioned it before, but he's responsible for Sagrada Familia. So he is the mastermind behind that. This beauty, as was mentioned before, is still under construction. That's even longer than the pyramids have been taken to get built, and it's expected to be completed by 2026. So hopefully we can all meet up there in Barcelona for a big fiesta to celebrate. Yeah, and as was mentioned before, he was inspired by nature. So if you see a lot of the undulating lines, the curves that he uses, the foliage, it was all inspired by a lot of the nature that really moved him. He was such an avid fan of nature that he was actually a vegetarian. So before tofu was super cool, Gaudi was rocking that in Barcelona. And here's the inside. It's really such a stunning structure. Yeah, he also created a lot of structures throughout the city of Barcelona. You can always tell it's his because of the stark contrast between his buildings and all the Gothic buildings around. They're always so bright and vivid. This one, Casa Parlo, he actually used a lot of marine life as inspiration for the facade. So he used, if you look at the rooftop, that's a bit inspired by like a dragon. And then if you look at the windows, there's boning across, and that's supposed to be the dragon's victims. So nice and morbid. Yeah, but a family actually lived in here. So I can't imagine what it must have been like to have such a swanky house in Barcelona. Yeah, and of course, there's La Pedrera. That's also a very popular place to go and visit, also called Casa Mila. And what's cool about Gaudi is he actually has about 7 places in Barcelona alone that are UNESCO World Heritage Sites. So you've got the Sagrada Familia, this one as well. So I'd say he did all right as an artist. Although some people were kind of against his style at the very beginning. They thought he was very, a little too sculptural, a little too eccentric at the beginning, but people fell in love with it eventually. All right, so another city I got to visit was Bilbao. Bilbao is a really cool, has got a really cool art scene. It's a port city, so it's on the other side, it's on the Atlantic coast, not on the Mediterranean. And it's got this amazing place. I don't know if anyone can recognize the style. If you've ever been to Los Angeles, it might look a little bit familiar to you. Yeah, so this is the Guggenheim in Bilbao, and it was designed by Frank Gehry. He's not a Spanish artist, he's an American artist, but one of my absolute favorite things about Gehry is his process. This is how he gets his ideas. He'll just scribble it down and all of a sudden he'll be like, yes, this is my structure. And from that, somehow he manages to make these amazing, amazing architectural feats. So yeah, I got to see that in Bilbao. It was really cool. Petrifying because there's a massive spider that sits out in front, a big structure. And yeah, I hate spiders. So that gave me the EBGBs. Yeah, and we also got to celebrate New Year's there. So we got to toast the town, eat the 12 grapes. I don't know what happened. I'm sorry, guys. We thought it was supposed to be a good year. Yeah, and of course, there's lots of street art. So if you need to nurse the hangover the next day, look at some art. There you go. Yeah, another city I visited was Malaga. Malaga is another really cool scene. It's a port city, but back on the Mediterranean. And in Malaga, this is the birthplace of Pablo Picasso. Yeah, so I love Picasso. Very hard not to. He's such an amazing Cubist artist. He really changed the landscape of art. He worked in Paris a lot. Oddly enough, he was a terrible student. A lot of people, they didn't appreciate the way he was always drawing in class, but I think it worked out in his favor in the long run. Yeah, and there's actually a Malaga Picasso Museum, and they have about 285 285 pieces of Picasso in there. So very quickly, I'll just mention, I'm so excited about all this because I get to go to Barcelona very soon. I'm going to an art school in Barcelona, and I'm so stoked. It's gonna be such an amazing experience. So right now I'm hunting for apartments that allow cats, and of course, doing the dreaded visas, which I don't know if any of you guys who have been to Spain have gone through that, but it's a lengthy process. So hopefully we'll make it. Yeah, and this is perhaps the thing I'm most excited about. It's called La Tomatina, and it's a big tomato fight that happens in Valencia every year. It's almost like crazy performance art that the whole city gets into. So yeah. All right. Whew, out of breath, but there we go.
Thank you, Cassie. Thank you. Amazing.
Yeah, no problem.
Who doesn't want to go to Spain now? It's just awesome.
Right?
Just amazing. I didn't have any idea, but I definitely want to go now. So we're on our way out, but you can't leave till you hear from our global sportscaster, Andreas. Andrea, show us what you got, okay? And thank you, everyone. Next Friday, we're traveling to Kuwait. I can't wait to Kuwait. So come on, join us next Friday. Andreas, take it away.
Hi, everyone. Thank you. If you're able to stay, I'd really appreciate it. But if not, it's no worries, really. So yeah, I'll be speaking on some of the deportes populares in España. Okay, so let's get started. So first, I have listed basketball. It's not the most popular sport in Spain, but the second most popular. You might get the names confused with some of the soccer teams because they have the same names. For example, there's also Real Madrid for basketball. There's also Barcelona for basketball. Now, this image on the top left is actually the Real Madrid players in the white. I'm sure you might recognize him from the NBA. It's Luka Doncic. So yeah, he was in the Spanish league all throughout his teenage years and up until last year. So he was maybe like 18 or 19, and he was one of the best players in the league at that young of an age. So that's pretty crazy because Spain has one of the best basketball leagues in all of Europe. And here are some of the main or some of the best basketball players to come out of Spain. So it's Ricky Rubio on the left. And then Pau Gasol. I'm sure a lot of Laker fans will know Pau Gasol because he won a few championships or a couple of championships with Kobe Bryant. And then we have Pau Gasol's brother on the bottom right, who's Marc Gasol. Marc Gasol won the championship not this year that just passed, but the year before with the Toronto Raptors. And a fun fact about the Gasol brothers is they were actually traded for each other very early on in their careers. So that's how Pau Gasol made his way to the Lakers. So now I have bullfighting. So bullfighting is, as you know, is a big tradition in Spain. It's a big aspect of the culture over there. And as you can see, the matador is always dressed up in this very elaborate costume. The stadium's filled with people. Now, this is this matador in the center. He's one of the more famous matadors. His name's Cayetano Rivera. He has a very interesting story on how he became a matador and where he got to where he is now. So if you have a chance, I'd definitely check him out if you have the time. So now next, we have basket pelota. Now, basket pelota, I've never heard of this sport, but it's really popular apparently in Spain and France and some of the neighboring areas. Now, it can be played in a variety of ways. So it has a lot of variations. Sometimes it's played with their hand. Sometimes it's played with like the paddle on the left or on the image on the bottom right, but it's the paddle on the left. Or sometimes it's played with this scoop that's on the right. Now, it just kind of depends on what the size of the court is and what the rules that they want to play with. But it's very similar to, I'd say, like squash or like maybe racquetball. But the difference is the ball for basket pelota is very hard. So you can kind of just envision a baseball, except it's slightly smaller, but a lot harder. So it bounces really hard and really high. It's one of the fastest sports in the world, where the ball travels up to 200 miles an hour, but an average of 170 miles an hour, I think. So super fast. It takes a lot of skill to play. It might look like it's not that difficult because the ball doesn't move that fast. It doesn't look like it's moving that fast because the court is so large, but it's moving up to those speeds. So I have a little video here to show where this reporter is being taught how to play the sport. It's kind of funny.
Dominic Bonicelli is on assignment in northern Spain. He's road testing an adrenaline-charged Basque sport that's gaining a popularity around the world.
I can hear the wind being ripped off that thing like a jet engine wing, you know? Whew. That thing is a rocket. It looks like a game from the future. That's one thing that amazes me, that this is an ancient Basque tradition, hundreds of years old, and it looks like something from the 28th century. Hola, ¿qué pasa?
¿Qué tal, tío? How are you doing?
Excelente, gracias.
Yeah, it's a beautiful sport, spectacular, and fastest ball game on earth.
Is it really?
Yeah, it is.
It's been clocked?
It's been clocked. I think the record's like around 200 miles an hour, 203 or some guy. The average is 170, 180. Yeah, it goes pretty fast.
And so am I going to have like a suit of armor on or something?
Nah,
I have to wear
helmet.
protective.
Yeah, I got
a
a helmet
bicycle
on,
helmet.
and yeah, that's about it.
Yeah. This ball sounds mean, quite frankly. I mean, it looks like a baseball. It's a little more dense than a baseball, but it's really hard.
Yeah, it's harder than a baseball. In one fluid motion, you want to lift, turn,
Yeah.
and bring straight down, and helping with your body. There you go. Flip. There you go. Right.
Right into the net. Nothing but net.
Now, straight, over top. Don't bend. You're bending. You're bending, man. Keep it straight. Up straight.
I thought it was straight.
Flex. There you go. That's the two wall right there.
All right, I think I'm ready, my friend.
You ready?
I'm feeling psyched up. Let's do this. Damn.
When it comes in, try to don't poke at it.
Yeah, okay. Oh. That time I was visualizing you catching it.
Come on, man. There you go. All right. Go. Hey, good catch, man.
That was a tolerable volley.
Good. Excellent.
Whew. All right. Come on.
Gotcha.
Oh,
7.
ugly.
There you go, back. There you go. Nice. All right, got you.
Oh, it was out, wasn't it? Woo! That was infinitely harder than I thought it was going to be. Honestly, I thought I was going to pick that up pretty easily, having played some racquetball and tennis, but it's just the fact that curved basket sends the ball 90 degrees away from where you think it's going to go, you know? And even catching it, when the ball comes whipping back in off that rattan, it's just, you have to catch it in the perfect little curve at the top, so and then it churns down here in the palm. It's really, really a game of skill.
Okay, so yeah, hopefully you enjoyed that. As you can see, it's not as easy as it looks based on how he was trying to pick it up, even though he's played tennis and racquetball. But it seems like a really fun sport to play. The only thing that I wouldn't say is fun about it is sometimes when they play it with their bare hand, they're hitting the ball with their bare hand. And like, as you can see, that ball is super hard. So they definitely have to condition themselves to the pain. But yeah, now I definitely want to touch on the most popular sport in Spain, which is soccer or football. So as you guys heard earlier in the presentation, the more popular teams are Atletico Madrid, Barcelona, Real Madrid, but also more importantly, Spain won the World Cup, the FIFA World Cup in 2010. Now, you think that with all the Spanish teams that are the good Spanish teams that are in the La Liga, you think that they'd be one of the favorites to win, but actually they, in this image on the bottom left, they upset Germany with I'd say a goal in extra time by Puyol. It was a header goal off a corner kick. So I'm sure all the Spanish football fans would know that goal. And then in the end, they beat the Netherlands on a goal by Andres Iniesta, who's listed here in the bottom. So these are some of the greatest Spanish soccer players of all time, which are like Andres Iniesta, Puyol, Sergio Ramos, the goalie Casillas, and then of course everybody looks forward to the El Clasico game, where I guess at best you'd say that the fans are indifferent towards each other, but I'd say it's kind of like New York Yankees and Boston Red Sox for baseball. So very similar, or even actually probably even worse, way worse. Oh yeah, I just want to touch on these athletes before I ended it. So definitely Rafael Nadal, as you know, one of the best tennis players of all time. And then maybe lesser known is these golfers. So it's Sergio Garcia, who still plays currently. He's won the Masters tournament before. And then Seve Ballesteros and Jose Maria Olazabal here on the bottom right. Those are two of the greatest Spanish golfers of all time too. Seve Ballesteros is known to have like such great skill with his hands, and he has such great feel for the game. So thank you. I appreciate your time. Thank you for everyone who's able to stay. I really appreciate it. Thank you so much.
Thank you, Andreas. Thank you, everyone. I really appreciate the show today. I think everyone did a fabulous job. I want to thank Anne, who was our sponsor, and Megumi, who was a cultural ambassador, Shaylee with Travel Trivia, always fun, always a winner. Suzanne, thank you. Donna, thanks for cooking up that potato. I'm definitely starving now. Cassie, fabulous job. And all the artistic things. Where do I live? In a hole? I had no idea. It really looks phenomenal. And Shaylee, yes, I'm gonna have to go to that beach where you told me to go to. That's gotta be a must-do activity in Spain. Thank you, Andrea. Sorry we were a little late on your global sportscasting, but it's always such a pleasure to have you. So thank you for taking us around the world with sports and fun things to do. Everyone, thank you again. Please join us next week for Kuwait. As just a reminder, anyone can join the Cook Club like Donna did for us today. Just check out the countries we're featuring next and cook us up a recipe. Share it, and you can present it at iCafe. And yes, you get a free International Friday Cafe apron. So we'll see you next week. Thank you all. Take care. Stay safe.
I think